This is another episode of Got Time with Christopher John, your scholar and gentleman in a hoodie. Our legacies in STEM reflect what it means to be innovative in a nation that was never designed to see us. Today, we explore the powerful, often overlooked legacies of Black innovators in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It is our collective brilliance that shaped the modern world in ways many of us never knew. This is about more than recognition. It's about reclamation. It's about honoring the intellect, the resilience, and creativity. It's about asking a deeper question. What becomes possible when we fully see, support, and invest in Black excellence? In the spirit of Black history, I wish to illuminate two innovators who have made an impact. Dr. Mercy Levin Julian was born in Montgomery, Alabama in 1899 to graduates of what is now known as Alabama State University. Dr. Julian is most noted for inventing aerofoam, a product that uses soy protein to put out oil and gas fires and was widely used in World War II. He established his own laboratory, Julian Laboratories, in 1954. He sold the company in 1961, becoming one of the first Black millionaires, before founding Julian Research Institute, a nonprofit organization. He was the first Black chemist elected to the National Academy of the Sciences in 1973. In 1990, he was elected to the National Inventors Hall of Fame, and he was recognized by the American Chemical Society. Dr. Marie Maynard Daly Clark, born in Queens, New York in 1921, was the first Black woman to earn a PhD in chemistry. Her father, an immigrant from the West Indies, had hoped to earn a degree in chemistry at Cornell University, but was unable to continue because of financial constraints. She became the realization of her father's hopes and dreams, working with Dr. A.E. Mirsky at the Rockefeller Institute for 7 years, beginning in 1948. They studied how proteins are built inside the body. And in 1955, she worked with Dr. Quentin B. Deming, researching the chemical mechanics of heart attacks. She contributed to what we know today about cholesterol and its relation to heart disease. She also became a professor and taught courses at Albert Einstein College, where she became a champion for diversity, working to increase the representation of Black scholars in science. Joining me is a phenomenal scholar and woman. She's an Associate Dean of Professional Development and Community Impact of Engineering and Applied Sciences. She earned her Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Engineering, her Master's of Business Administration and Quantitative Analysis, and her Doctorate of Philosophy in Biomedical Engineering, Engineering Education. Oh my goodness, we have a scholar here at the table today. She serves as the principal investigator for grant programs that provide funding and professional development to help students prepare for the workforce. She founded the Gaskins Foundation, a nonprofit organization whose mission is to present, engage, and prepare students of all ages to become leaders in STEM. She has numerous accolades, including the K-12 champion by the National Association of Multicultural Engineering Program Advocates, as well as being a YWCA Career Woman of Achievement recipient. She's a wife, mother, super dope human being.
I'll take all of that.
Dr. Whitney Gaskins.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness, Whitney. Thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here.
I mean, my daughter was in the Excel program. I think you were at the time, you were running that program.
I was helping them with programming for the,
Yes, yes. And so I'm just so pleased to have you at the table. We're so glad to have you here to have this conversation because a lot of changes are taking place.
Yes.
You know, but before we get started and to talk about that, I want to know a little bit more about you. If you could share with your listeners, like
Yeah.
your childhood and what sparked your interest in pursuing a career in STEM.
Man, that's a great question. And I think about it often because we still see so few who look like me. And I always have to ask, like, what happened? How did I get here? And why are we struggling to get more in? And it's actually simple. And I hope more parents hear me when I say this. My parents let me be a kid, and they did not try to push me in ways that would mold my future. They let me stay curious. They let me explore. They didn't do gendered toys. Now that's the harder part because as having a daughter myself, I see how quickly it happens. We teach girls very young through just the act of having a baby doll that their role is to be a caretaker. They're modeling what we would consider I would consider adult behavior of like taking care of a baby, and they make them vacuum sets and kitchen sets, and they always make them pink and purple. My parents didn't do that. I had GI Joes, I had Barbies.
I was gonna say you had an E-Man. Did you have E-Man and Skeletor too? With
Listen,
you?
I had all, I had erector sets, Tinker toys, Legos, and dolls. So like they didn't subscribe to the because it was only daughters. My dad didn't have any sons, but they didn't subscribe to the you play with those gendered toys or your toys need to be pink and purple. I had everything, and I think that played a big part in my psyche of like, well, I can do everything. I grew up in the country. I grew up in Mansfield, Ohio, and it took a long time for me to admit that that's the country, but it is. It took a long time. But I grew up in the country, and building things was not abnormal. I remember building our deck and my dad giving me my own little tool set and letting me work with him. I've always grew up learning how to use or using power tools. So those open things, giving me experiences and letting me stay curious is how I ended up in STEM because I was allowed to be. We don't usually let people do that. We think we have to mold and shape their futures, our kids' futures in a way that sometimes it's harmful. And I do this research. It's one of the things that I do actually get to do my scholarship in. The biggest indicator of girls going into STEM that I have been able to link is actually art, which is counterintuitive because I didn't go through a whole lot of STEM programming. It wasn't available like it is today.
Right.
But I did, my mom was an art teacher. And so all of the things that I made musical instruments as for fun with my mom because that's what she did. She did art projects. And we call those arts and crafts, but it helped me learn how music works and where it comes from. And without ever having to name things, I was building, creating, doing. And most of the other women with me, I've been able to interview. They also have very similar stories of how art helped them have these expressions of curiosity and making and doing, and they're in STEM.
It's amazing that you bring that up because the other week I had a conversation with a brilliant artist that lives here in the city,
Yeah.
Adoria Maxberry.
Yeah, I love her.
And
She's
so-
amazing.
And so we were having this conversation because I was talking about my daughter who is pursuing a medical degree.
Okay.
But during the pandemic, she started to paint to deal with, what was going
All of
on,
it. Yeah.
with everything. That was her outlet. And she's continued to do that. And Adoria talked about there's a connection between that type of field and art.
Yeah.
It's just that you're looking at the body and how the body works
Yes.
and the body mechanics and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And so it is art. And I never thought about it that way. And that was a conversation I had just the other week.
Yeah.
And you said basically the same
It's the biggest
thing.
link. Well, you know what the other one is? So we always tell kids who want to go into STEM that you really need to love math and science. And I don't know if that's the right conversation. The data actually doesn't support that you need to like or love math and science. You do need to know how to do those and understand those things. So the literacy and numeracy is important. But the biggest thing, the indicator of success in engineering anyway, is your English score. So a lot of people are like, oh, you have to have this high math ACT. That has utility because it shows that you understand the math already. It's English, though, that shows that you're successful. Writing is an art. Understanding it is an art form. There's more connections. The world is more connected than we like to teach it or talk about it. And so I just think we need to let people be, and they're going to find their true passions, which will help us get more kids in STEM, because by putting up these artificial things of like, you have to love math and you have to love science to go into STEM, people self-select out because they don't have those loves. But when you have an appreciation for those things, because you're able to just, what are you curious about? It's probably something that is STEMmy that you're curious about. You will learn the math to solve the problem that you're curious about. You'll do the thing that is challenging because your curiosity is fostered. So you want to go into that project. You're like, I don't care. I know it's going to be hard, but I need that tool so I can solve the problem I care about. That's the message. You can get good at math, just like we can get good at English. Like you can learn those things, but I need to know what I'm curious about first.
Wow. I want to go back to your parents right
Yeah.
quickly, though. So was that intentional?
No.
Or it's just, I was curious, did you have a conversation with
Oh,
them, or
that's
is
a
it
great
just something
question.
that you just unpacked looking back?
For my dad, it was very intentional. And I think my mom trusted my dad enough to be like, okay, sure. Because he would have those deeper conversations with me. He passed in 2007. So I wish I could talk to him about it now as an adult. Like, Dad, you were actually right about how you approach those things. And I think he just knew he was brilliant. So I think he just knew, let's not do that to my daughter. I want more for my daughter. And there's nothing wrong with domestication and like doing housework and chores and all the things. But why don't we do that for everybody? Like, why don't boys get baby dolls and learn how to take care of kids? They have their fathers, but we don't do that for them. And why are the easy bake ovens pink and purple? They need to cook.
Right.
Make them blue.
I mean, that's the way.
Make them black.
My mom, she said, son, you don't know how to cook. She had me in the kitchen, and to this very day, my wife and I, we split.
You split?
We split, it's like she has her days when she cooks, and then I have my days when I cook.
Yes.
I grew up, my mom was a seamstress. So
You
I
knew how to sew.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I'm like, I got some things that you.
I am extremely rusty at that. But, I knew how to, needle and thread, to work with that and things of that nature. And it's fascinating you were talking about, your action figures that you have.
Yeah.
And so the flip side of me is I remember, I know I am older than you, so.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I'm positive. And I had it was a Tonka truck and a Tonka man.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
this
yeah.
big the Tonka trucks,
Yeah.
and then so I had my action figures, and I'm like, I'm tired of they look the same.
Yeah.
And so my mom was like, well, why don't you make them some? So I would actually make.
Were you sewing clothes?
I was making vests and all kinds of shirts and stuff for the action figures. Yes.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
We
you
need
know.
more people to do it. See, you need to get back into it. We need more people sewing.
Hey, the way this society and this world is going, those type of skills are needed.
They are needed.
Are needed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to find like an alteration shop, around here. That's
Extremely.
Because people, what they do is they just go buy new versus taking it somewhere or doing it themselves to,
Yes.
get it repaired.
Yes. They'll throw it away. Good clothes. They just, instead of getting it repaired, stitched. Yeah.
So you talked about all girls, so you're one of
Two.
One of
Just,
two.
I have an older sister,
Oh.
and it's just, I feel bad. My dad used to always say, like, I'm just surrounded by women. It was my grandma, my mom, me, my sister. So he got a dog, and it was a boy.
Look,
So he could have a.
my dad, to his last breath, would say that I'm blessed because I have 3 daughters, and I thought it was a slight against me because he would say daughters take care of their fathers,
They do.
and so I took it like, so you saying I'm not gonna take?
Are you taking care of it?
I did. He passed
Okay,
away
you
in
did.
2010.
Okay. Oh,
He
I'm
passed
sorry to
away
hear
in
that.
2010.
Yeah.
And so, I was, I was there
Okay.
for him, but absolutely, it's a blessing. It's a blessing to have those type of skill sets growing up.
Yes.
And so you're not in a box.
I was not put in a box. I had the freedom to explore all of my curiosities, and it served me.
Another thing I find interesting, said you're from Mansfield.
Yes.
And can I ask, so what is the percentage of black population in Mansfield?
I actually have
you
not
have
looked.
any?
I went to a school where I was one of two.
I'm going to tell you why I asked that question.
Yeah.
I know 6 people from Mansfield.
They all black.
Yes.
I mean, there's a black population
Yes.
there. It used to be a booming city. So it is not like there's no diversity. I think people forget there was a GM plant there.
Okay.
AK Steel was there. Oh, Thermo something. It's still there. Like it was a heavy like industry manufacturing place. That's how most people were there. But they closed it all. So like now the demographics probably have shifted drastically because when I was in high school, they did the lockout of AK Steel. They had, I don't know when the GM plant closed, but it closed. And so like industries left the area.
Right.
So the demographics changed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're in this STEM field. You gave the foundation of how you were basically raised. There are no limits. There are no boundaries.
Yes.
I can do whatever I want to do.
Yes.
And you also talked about the creativity. So that means you're a good artist as well?
I wish. It skipped me. My sister is. She doesn't flaunt that at all, but she is
it's not a flex for her?
not a flex, but she needs to. She's extremely talented. It skipped me though. Like I think I have the desire, like the desires of my heart, or to be good at this. But I think I have artistic expression in different ways. Like I'm very creative, and it took a while to admit that out loud. Like I'm very creative. It just doesn't translate to like a fine art.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when I was introducing you, it's for me as someone who's challenged sometimes with. My mom's from the West Indies; she's Jamaican, so some words I'm challenged with. I'm looking at biomedical, and my daughter, she tells me what her degree is in, and I just said she's going to be a medical examiner. I just keep it at that, right? And so, as you are going through, what helped shape and find you to pursue all the things I talked about, those particular degrees? I mean, what was motivating you, or what was the question you were trying to?
Yeah, what was my curiosity?
Yeah.
I love how the human body works. There's nothing more beautiful or miraculous than how nature thrives, because there's so many things right now happening in our bodies that we don't even have to think about. I'm breathing. My muscles are currently firing. My neurons are firing. Like the way the human body, it still makes me tick. Like I love how it's designed, put together. And I've always felt that way. And I don't know why. It's just a thing for me. I've always liked it and been intrigued. But it wasn't actually biology or anatomy and physiology that was my hook. It was engineering drawing. When I was in school, we still had we had shop.
Yes.
They don't have that anymore.
I wanted to be an architect, early on, and I remember the graphite paper.
All of that.
Yes,
I loved it. And my dad, I remember, because he knew I was intrigued by anatomy, physiology, biology. Like I just loved it. But I was really into my engineering drawing and drafting. He was like, there's this Times article. So he read the Times magazine, not like New York Times magazine. And he was like, there's an article in here about this new upcoming field called biomedical engineering. And I was in the 7th grade. And I was like, what is that? And he talked to me about it based on this article. And that's when I said, I'm doing that, because it's a mix of both.
I think you said something right there that's very important. You were in the 7th grade.
I was in the 7th grade.
And so that is something my wife and we've done with our daughters. We introduce career paths to them early on.
Yes.
And I hope my plea is parents, please do that. Explore what your children are interested in while they're especially at that stage, because you're still very curious. But introducing them to these career paths when they're in high school.
It's too late.
It's too late.
It's too late.
And so, absolutely. So, the 7th grade, your father. And can you say your dad's name?
Yeah, John Gaskins. John Gaskins. I named the Gaskins Foundation after my dad, not myself.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So when people, I fully intended that one day when I first started it, I'm going to get married and change my name, and this will live on for my dad's legacy. And then I got my doctorate, and I was like, I'm not changing my name. I'm Dr. Gaskins. So love my husband, but it's Dr. Gaskins all day
All day, and twice on Sunday.
and twice on Sunday.
So, so you talked about representation,
Yes.
especially in this field.
Yes.
So, can you talk about the current state and the plight of Black women in STEM
Yeah.
from your perspective?
Oh man, this is a complicated conversation that we're having right now, given the time that we're living in. So, women, and then particularly Black women, I cannot speak to Latino or Indigenous populations other than to say they were also severely underrepresented. But Black women were only about 2% of the women getting doctorates, but women in general were only like 26% of the STEM workforce. Because of COVID, more women made the decision to leave the workforce at that time for caretaking. This is not a judgment of that decision, but the decision was more put, like the caretaking, that responsibility was put on women more than it was on men. So then we have a decrease. Then we have current political ideology that say that we should not support women, people of color, regardless of talent, skill, access, or opportunity. And it's disgusting because we were already severely underrepresented. And it wasn't always because of desire. People don't have access and opportunity to get there. I know how I became Dr. Gaskins, and it was very intentional mentorship to get me to this place by a person who understood my struggle and my plight. When we lose those things, people really believe in meritocracy, and it's not actually meritocracy that gets people through the system. There are brilliant people in all different places and walks of life, and if you gave them an opportunity to get in the door, they could probably solve some of the world's most challenging problems, but we don't have people in those places fostering that talent, and we're taking away programs that did that thing. Those programs did not do anything discriminatory as you might hear in the news. They gave people an opportunity that were otherwise shut out from a system, and we have the data to prove it. But we are very science illiterate. We're unfortunately a little more than a little. We're in an innumerate society, so people don't trust data or understand it. And so we just go off of sound bites. And the sound bite is that affirmative action, DEI were bad things, and they were beautiful, good things because they were making our world better and giving opportunity to the most brilliant people.
Right. We're also in a valley of misinformation and miseducation as well.
Yes.
So
in a land of delusion.
absolutely. So it's hard to, when someone is presenting the science.
Yes.
And then too, we as a black community, we
Yeah.
have this relationship with science as well, where we've seen. So that's another part of it.
Science distrust is real and it's valid because we have used science to oppress people in really horrible ways. So I'm never judging that the science distrust is there, but I need people to have the critical thinking and the science literacy to know what's real and what's not. What is a scientific process? How do you know that that data that you're reading is valid outside of somebody breaking it down for you? Can you actually read it, follow it, and understand it so you can break it down for yourself? And we've lost that skill. There used to be a time where the whole world would read scientific journals. It was table talk. You would be like, did you see what so-and-so scientist came up with? They published about it in here. And you would read their article and you could have discourse about it. We've moved further and further away from having those types of conversations, which is also helping reduce literacy and numeracy rates in our culture. And I talk about this a lot because literacy is not just about being able to read the words, it's about comprehending what you read and being able to synthesize the information. We have lost it.
Yeah, because I mean, some of these words, and they'll, I feel sometimes for the regular person, they
Yes.
look like they're made up words.
Yes.
And so actually having that understanding. So, I mean, do you find that there is a resource out there to help counteract
Yes.
the misinformation, to help counteract, the current culture that's taking place when we talk about science and information?
I mean, that's such a wonderful question. There are movements, right? Our public libraries, I'm biased because I'm an Ohioan. Ohio has some of the best public library system, probably one of the best public library system in the country. Ohio is one of the most well-read states too, which people don't know. They have programs to help people with literacy, data understanding, but you have to take advantage of it. Go, like, use it. Talk to a librarian. They will help you. In Ohio, we have those. There are also movements on social media of influencers who are really breaking down the science so that way you can follow it, understand it, and understand what it's really saying outside of, again, a soundbite that you might hear on whatever news channel that you subscribe to. Follow those accounts. I wish I could name them all, but like, what's his name? Josh Doss, is that his name?
Oh, yeah, yes,
Yeah.
I know you tell. Yeah,
He's a data analytics guy, but he breaks down science so well.
because I think he's on TikTok
He's
and
on
all kind of a
TikTok,
lot of
he's on
yeah.
Instagram, but there are influencers that are doing the good work to break down science with data and helping you understand what's actually happening and what those things mean. We need more people to do it. So academics, stop writing papers just for other academicians. Like, you make a TikTok, you start getting on Instagram, put your data where people actually can consume it and break it down for folks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so one of the questions I definitely, I was going to ask you about advice for parents who have students that are interested.
Yeah.
The art, talking about the art,
Yeah.
that resonated with me. It was the second time. So
Yeah.
I would say, parents, please get your children. I think I've talked about this even from a historical standpoint. It's our hope gets diminished when we do not have a creative spirit about
Yes.
ourselves. Because even when I talk about, chattel enslavement, people who were born into that condition, they had to imagine and create what does freedom look like? What does it feel like? It's not around me. I don't see it, but I know it's out there.
I know it's there.
And it's that creative energy that I think often gets diminished, that makes us get into a state of hopelessness.
Yes.
And so I think that's a part of it. Is there anything else that parents, that you would advise them to do if they have a child, to say that, I think this is a career path that I'm interested in?
Yeah, I would tell you to explore things together. The family unit is huge, and we talk about it in a lot of contexts, but being able to position yourself as a learner with your child builds your child's confidence, because then they realize that they don't have to know everything and that you can figure things out and explore together. It helps them understand that they're safe, and it also lets you work with your kid. That confidence building will help your child pursue whatever avenue they want to go through. Learn together. So don't think that you have to be, teachers have this complex too. Like, you have to be the all-knowing, the authority figure. Remove yourself from that in this context and learn and grow together. It will do wonders for your child.
And so I would say that's advice, and this is have an agenda while I'm asking this question.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So I have a chemical engineering graduate in my house.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, she has her own house. Great. Went to Tuskegee University, got her degree, went straight into the workforce.
Yeah.
But because of all the cutbacks and because of all the many companies
Yes.
are downsizing
They are
and things of that
downsizing.
nature,
Yes.
what advice would you give to a young professional that is navigating the current, options, if they are, whether they're a chemical engineer, civil engineer, whatever, or biomedical engineer, what would be your advice to them?
Stay nimble. I think so many times we have these rigid views of what our degrees mean, what we're qualified for, but I guarantee there's a job opportunity waiting if you would talk about your transferable skill as opposed to saying, well, I want to do just this. Sometimes you have to do things that you need to do before you get to do the things that you want to do. Stay nimble, get your foot in a door, talk about your transferable skills, and then you will have the ability to navigate and do something else and pivot. I think just that rigidness, being an engineer myself, married to a chemical engineer, like, let go of the rigidity in that career path, in that field that you're trained to be. Talk about the transferable skills. You can probably do project management. You can probably help with process in a whole lot of different ways. You can be a problem solver. Look for those types of things in career, and don't worry about title. Worry about happiness in that career. Just stay nimble.
That's strong.
Yeah.
Worry about happiness.
Worry about happiness.
Yes.
Life is way too short to be unhappy. I'm telling you now.
Well, happiness, joy, all of that is a choice.
It is a choice.
It is a choice.
Yes.
And often, I have to remind myself of that as well. I can choose to wallow in the despair, in the mud, or I can choose joy and happiness in this moment, even in this storm and in this moment.
Always. Every day I make a commitment. There's something that happened that made me happy. Because the negative stuff sticks with you and it can weigh you down. I'm going to have a moment of joy every day.
I heard that. So speaking of, this podcast is a modern take on Black history. So is there someone in the field that you admired, that you may have read about? You talked about your father exposing you to all this literature. Did you see along the way, along this journey, did you see yourself in somebody that made you, although you use your creativity to say, I can do anything, but it's good to see examples as well. So was there an example out there for you, or a North Star, I should say?
So I have 3 women who come to mind. And the reason why I'm laughing is because they're not traditional. One of them is not traditional at all. Excuse me. It is a historical figure, but it's Harriet Tubman.
Okay.
She's a STEMinista without the title. Oh, excuse me. Let me get it.
Please. And I'm going to join you as well. I'll get a little pause for the cause.
A little pause for the cause.
So I'm going to need to hear this.
You're like, what are you talking about?
You said Harriet Tubman, and I said North Star, so you went. So Harriet Tubman inspired you to go into STEM, or one of the reasons. Okay.
I'm going to tell you, when you think about all of the things that she was able to do, she is one of the first figures in STEM that doesn't get the title. She was able to map, which is a whole science in itself, pathways out, going through forest, swamp, all kinds of terrain. She was able to map that using both the stars, the terrain, understanding climate, season. That's science.
So she has a PhD in natural science.
Can you do that? Have you ever watched that show, Naked and Afraid? Have you ever watched those shows?
I have.
Those survival shows? And could you survive?
No.
But she could.
Yes, she could.
That is science. Then she knew what drugs to give certain people so they didn't disrupt the travel. Do you know what that's chemistry. She knew how to make the certain thing to give debate. Now, I'm not saying that this was healthy, but it was necessary.
Didn't want that baby to cry.
What did she have to concoct?
It probably was something that had some type of alcohol in it, or it was a libation of some kind.
It was definitely, they're probably illegal today, but it was drugs that she was able to these potion in the right amount, the right dosage.
Yes.
That's science. So she did cartography, which is the art of map making. She knew earth science because she understood terrain. She understood weather. She understood chemistry and how to create certain concoctions to make sure certain people had what they need. Not just the babies to stop crying, but those who got hurt. She was making basically pain medicine before pain medicine was an industry. She did that. That's science. I'm like, you guys are asleep. And then she convinced people to leave. She convinced people to join her. She's one of the most amazing figures in history.
But let's be clear. Once she convinced you to leave, there's no turning back.
No turning back. But then she had that's leadership.
Yes.
And she knew when she had to cut it.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh. I don't know. I've been inspired.
She carried that rifle for a reason, and it was often not for.
What you thought it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm here. That's why I know that's not popular, like a STEMinista that people don't, but all of the things that she was able to do to get people to even join her in the, like, what better
I like
leader?
that.
Name
I
a
like
better
that.
leader.
I think that's a beautiful perspective how to look at her in that way.
Yeah.
It's rarely viewed that way, but I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have Harriet Tubman.
Katherine Johnson.
All right. Hidden Figures, right?
Hidden Figures.
Yes.
Known about her career for a long time. I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and so is she. And I just felt like if she can do this in a time where they didn't even let her go to a bathroom. So the thing that bothered me about the movie,
Okay, let's get into it. Yeah, what bothered you?
they never did the nice things that they said that they did in the movie. You do know that she never got a bathroom closer. They actually did make her still walk to a bathroom that was miles away from her building to just relieve herself.
You know, it's often what's interesting is that when Hollywood takes
A story.
a story, they will embellish it and they will soften it.
Yes.
I think the only historical story that I saw that I felt was close enough to the reality
Yeah.
was 12 Years a Slave.
I couldn't watch it.
Because there was I went to the premiere. Well, at the time I was working in the museums, and so I was able to get go to the premiere of it. And I remember after the movie, I drove home in my car in silence because I was traumatized by the violence that was taking place, and I was just like, my goodness, that is about the closest thing to what our ancestors, many of them endured, especially as a woman.
Yes.
You know, the violations, the abuse.
Yes.
And I was just like, I drove home in the car just listening to the engine. Yeah.
Shout out to you for. I literally cannot watch some Black pain, especially because I, in true nerd fashion, researched the book. And then to find out about how the author did all of that research over her lifetime to prove that that slavery was as bad, if not worse, than how we discuss it. I was like, ooh, I already knew. Like, I already believed the story, so I don't need that in my spirit right now.
Oh yeah. It took me a while to shake
Yeah.
it, so I understand that. So Katherine Johnson.
Yes, her resilience. Because also they never let her in the control room. I don't know why they did that in the movie. They never let her in there.
Well, you know, we have to make sure that it wasn't as bad. It
Was
that
horrible.
bad.
It was worse. They never let her in the control room. They never gave her the bathroom that they claimed that they gave her in the movie, and they still never put her name on reports. That's why she was a hidden figure for so long. Anyway, but I knew what she was able to do, and I thought about her often, especially when I was going to graduate school. This brilliant
So how was you
woman-
introduced to her though?
Oh, I feel like, again, shout out to my father. He talked about those things.
Man, Mr. John Gaskins.
Yes.
Sir, oh my goodness.
Yes.
You created a real one right here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Shout out to him because he was trying to show. I mean, there were days I remember my dad speaking life to me because I was not met with graciousness even when I was in undergrad. A lot of people didn't think I belonged and told me so. And I was away from home. I'm not from Cincinnati, but I went to the university. And so then to be alone and then for people to say that you shouldn't be there and you don't belong, he spoke life to me and he provided counter examples.
Wow.
And the third person was a person I did meet. She was a faculty member in the math department, but she got her engineering degree from Princeton before she became a PhD in Cincinnati. She's actually the godmother to my children. We're extremely close. She has a spirit so loving, Dr. Joy Moore. So loving, so genuine. It brought so much hope to me that I don't have to lose myself and turn into the evil that I'm surrounded by. I can be me and I can thrive and I can be excellent. And it was important for me to see that because I don't want to say everybody I was around was evil, but the culture and climate is not welcoming. It
was-
is not
It wasn't
inclusive.
inviting.
It
at
wasn't
all.
inviting. And people were okay with it. More people go with the status quo than buck the system. And to see someone still smile, bring pure joy, pure-hearted love to every space she entered, I was like, oh, okay, I can do this, and I can be whole, and I can be me. And if it wasn't for her, I don't think I would have graduated.
I mean, it sounds like she was a beacon of humanity for you that you
Yes.
saw in a desert of inhumane circumstances,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
especially whether because you're a woman,
Yes.
you know, because you're black,
Yes.
you know, whatever the case may be. And that's powerful. We need more people
We
to
need
be,
more.
yeah. And I'm quite sure you're that.
I hope so.
I'm quite sure you're that. I mean, it's
I want
you
that.
carry it with you. You have no choice but to be because Mr. John Gaskins.
Yes, yes.
And you've had this example. You know, you talk
Mm-hmm.
about your friend. You talk about Joy and what she was
Yeah.
for you, and that's a beautiful name. That's the right name to have,
Yes.
right? Joy.
And she was seriously joyful. Like, I was like, oh, amazing woman. She's still amazing woman.
So he had those three people.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about. So one, before you know, I thank you for taking the time
Of course.
and being with us. You have your own podcast too.
I do.
Yeah,
Princess
please
of STEM Diaries. You're gonna be on there.
Oh,
We gonna
you
get
heard
you
that, right?
scheduled. Princess of STEM Diaries is when we chat about a wide variety of things, but really the intersections of how STEM happen and impact the world. Like recently, we were talking about this AI craze, and a lot of people don't realize that AI is designed to be a little sycophantic. Not a little, a lot. So if you ever type something into AI and it says, and you say, "Is this a good idea?" Have you ever been told no?
No, it's not gonna tell you no.
It
It's
doesn't
gonna,
tell you no. It says,
Right.
oh, this is a great idea. Here, let me help you refine it. In theory, though, it's a really horrible idea, but it is designed.
Wow.
And so now we have people living in delusion because they think everything that they type in there is a great idea because the AI told it that it was a great idea. Why? Because AI is trained to give you a yes. It's trained to make you happy. And it gets better responses from you. You use it more, the happier you are. That dopamine release, like the happier you are, the more you use something. That's why Instagram got sued recently, right? Because same thing with AI.
Well, let me ask you this. So in the previous episode with Dr. Jackson,
Yeah. I love it, Doctor.
we actually went into a part of I didn't know we were going. We talked about AI,
Yeah.
and we talked about AI in the use of in healthcare, in
Yeah.
health.
Yeah.
And so he talked about us being invested in utilizing AI to help close the gap on some health disparities, especially how it
Interesting.
relates to, you know, but a lot of that comes down to who has ownership
Yes.
and who is the back house
Yes.
of these AI systems that we are using.
There should be a lot of distrust. When we talk about science distrust, there should be a lot of distrust about data privacy because it's still artificial intelligence is a lot of things. It's not just ChatGPT, it's autonomous vehicles. It's a lot of different things. And it's a highly unregulated field. If any regulations at all. I don't think people remember when autonomous vehicles were starting, there's you can find this in the news, so please look it up. But there were cars driving in certain neighborhoods, and the cars hit a child. And I don't want to say that they passed, but it was severely injured, if not passed. The neighborhood had to light the car on fire to get the industry to stop.
So it's one of those
Like self-driving car. This is in the beginning, but they were testing, and there's no regulations on where you can test, how you can test. And then where are they storing your data? Like if you're putting personal information into your AI machine, you don't know who has access and how they're going to use the data later. Not that this is real, but Minority Report, the movie, we're very close.
No, see the movie that did it for me.
Yeah.
That had my distrust up
Yeah.
is the Will Smith movie.
Oh, iRobot.
iRobot.
I watch so much TV, y'all. It's crazy.
yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, iRobot.
iRobot. That right there, I was like, yeah.
We're very close. And the parts that like are alarming for me are probably not the same parts that are alarming to everybody else. It is because it's unregulated that people are going to get away with a lot of harm before regulations come in. And we already know that, right? Because that's what the whole TikTok battle was about. It was not about the China owned TikTok. They don't care. They own a lot of things in the country and they never cared. It was about who's going to get access to that data and how can I use that data so I can understand the people that I'm supposed to be controlling. You should be very concerned about the things that are happening in that space.
Yeah, and we talked about that. So the algorithm is intentional.
It's a dopamine. It is literally making you happy.
And I've had to save myself from that several times.
Yes.
I started, you know what?
It's an addiction.
Yeah.
Just like sugar, just like a drug, just like, I don't know, tobacco, that's a drug. But like, it's an addiction.
I'll tell you what's the beautiful thing is that even with all that, there's nothing better than sitting across at the table at someone.
Yes.
The only thing that would make this situation better is if we had some food
I
in
was
front
going
of
to
us.
say, if we were breaking bread, that's literally the only thing that would make it better.
You know, because for me, these conversations that I've been blessed to have through the run of this podcast has really been fulfilling for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm able to sit and have this exchange and to think about things I never thought about before.
Yeah.
And to me, that is a healthier way of getting the same, I guess, charge that you would get by going on social media.
Yes.
And hopefully we can start to kind of get back to that. I think try to institute that to make time to it. I understand technology is here.
Yes.
But there's got to be things need to be done in balance.
I'll say this. People are lonelier today with more access to people than they were before. And it's because we're in vacuums. Like, I literally am talking to people who have the same viewpoint. I curated my world to be a yes man world. We don't have discord, and you're not making genuine connections. Because if everyone agrees with everything that you say, like, it's not a genuine connection. You don't have like real thoughts, discourse. It's interesting.
And there's a lot of things. I think I read an article the other day. My wife and I was talking about it. It said that our younger demographic, this is gonna sound strange, they're having hemorrhoids.
I heard about this.
Because they are sitting on the toilet with the phone too long because they're basically and it's causing this. The body is reacting because they are sitting on on the throne for too long.
I saw that and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I work with college students. They literally don't know how to make friends. Because their discourse is via Snap or Insta, or I didn't even know people still use Snapchat until they told me that, we're still on there. But like, they don't know how to make, like in person, having a conversation. It's not about me taking a photo and you laughing. It's not a meme. Like, I have to connect with you. They don't know how to do that.
Well, I look forward to coming on to your podcast so we can have a conversation.
Please.
Definitely. And I will share it on my platform as well.
I would love that.
And then before we get out of here, definitely. So, what's upon the horizon for the Gaskins Foundation?
Oh, we have some good stuff. Yeah. So, we actually have an animated show. It's called Stimulating Adventures. It follows 3 children who happen to be my children, Wesley, Waylon, and Waverly, through magical adventures that they go through, and they use science and technology to find their way back home. But they meet amazing hidden figures. So they meet Beethoven, who people don't realize is not just of European descent, but they meet Beethoven, they meet Katherine Johnson, Frederick Jones, all of these wonderful people who have invented or contributed to society in great ways. They meet them, they help them get back home. It's a wonderful, wonderful show. So please check it out. Stimulating Adventures.
That reminded me when my girls were younger, there used to be a cartoon. Was it Einstein or Einstein, I think it was.
Oh,
it was something.
I know what you're talking about.
It was something that.
I know what you're talking about because I can see the characters. But it did have Einstein.
So while you were talking about that, it was here. It's gone.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
So for you to have this available to really engage with, the family, children.
Yes.
I'm not going to say just children, with the family.
Whole family.
The whole family. That's
it's a good show, and I'm intentional about most things that I do. So not only is there the show that you can watch as a family, We provide STEM curriculum that matches what they did in the episode, so you can actually do some of the things at home. We have a podcast that goes with it, so you get to meet a modern figure, so that way you can see that this is still actually happening and a real life thing. We have books, so I write children's books, and so some of the books are mine, some of them are others, right? So like there's books,
Yeah.
and we do music because kids love songs. So we've written music that go with every single episode.
So have listeners and viewers, how can they access
Yeah.
or get to everything that you just shared?
Stimulatingadventures.com, spelled STEM, ulatingadventures.com. It's all available.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to thank you once again for taking the time.
Yeah.
You are a treasure. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing your journey
Yes,
with
thank you
us.
for having me.
And so this has just been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
I have enjoyed it. Thank you. Next time we're gonna have dinner and do another conversation.
Oh, what you gonna have food? We gonna have food at,
wait a minute, but you're Jamaican.
yeah,
I need to
yeah,
make you some
man.
Jamaican food. My
You-
best
you-
friend is
you gonna have
Jamaican. I'm
some-
gonna have to get
you gonna have
her.
some rice and peas.
Yes,
Some
I
rice and
love me
peas,
some
man.
Jamaican food. Don't
I'll
play
take
with me.
some hack and sawfish with walk too.
All of it. I had it before. Telling you when I tell you my bestie's Jamaican, I'm not joking.
Okay, we'll make it happen.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'll see you soon.
Our legacies in STEM are not just about inventions. They're about perseverance, vision, and the courage to imagine beyond limitations. These legacies are written in laboratories, classrooms, hospitals, and office spaces. They have shaped how we move, how we heal, how we communicate, and how we understand the world itself. Our legacies remind us that innovation is strongest when it is inclusive, and that brilliance exists everywhere, even when systems and racial insecurities fail to see it. Continue to imagine the unseen. Continue to ask bold questions, and continue to create what has never existed before. The future of STEM doesn't just include our legacies, it depends on them. I am your scholar and gentleman in a hoodie. Know thy history.